Good afternoon. It's time for our daily devotion. It's been quite a process this morning, and I'm sorry I'm late getting this video out, but I was uploading the sermon first, and normally that takes 15-20 minutes, but today it took 5 hours to convert the video from Sunday sermon into the format that I can put it on the website. Now, if you weren't here Sunday, don't get worried and be afraid to watch the sermon. It wasn't 5 hours long. It wasn't any longer than normal, but for some reason my computer was extremely slow today. And I was sitting there waiting, knowing I couldn't do my devotion until I got the sermon uploaded, and I was watching that little line go across the computer screen and waiting for that little ding that happens when it's finished. And finally, the ding happens and the words come up, mission completed, and I knew the sermon was done. And I was thinking about Christmas. I was thinking about what happened in heaven the night Jesus was born. And I was thinking that all of heaven must have been holding their breath. All of the angels must have been leaning over the portals of heaven, looking down at the earth. And they're watching Mary and Joseph as they make their way to Bethlehem. They watch them as they knock on the inn door and there's no room for them. They watch as they make their way back to that stable. They watch as the angels appear to the shepherds. And they watch as the star leads the way for the wise men into the city of Bethlehem. And they watch all this happening, and they're anxiously waiting, kind of looking at those events going across the timeline of history, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally they hear that first breath of Jesus, that first cry of Jesus, and they realize that Jesus, the Messiah, the one who is going to save his people from their sins, has been born. And they must have thought, oh, this is the mission completed. In retrospect, we know that it wasn't the mission completed. It was the mission begun. It was the beginning of the mission, because Jesus would not only be born, he would live sinless life. He would die a horrible death. He would be placed in a tomb. He would raise on the third day. He would ascend back to his Father and sit at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for us. We know the complete story in hindsight, but that night, all of heaven must have rejoiced at the beginning of the mission being accomplished. Folks, listen, that's why Christmas is so special. Christmas isn't special just because of trees and parties and gifts and Christmas cookies and candy and all of the family celebrations that we have. No, Christmas is special because it shows us, it gives us a point in time. It gives us a day on the calendar to remember the beginning of God's mission of love, the day that Jesus was born. The day that Jesus began his earthly journey to the cross, to the tomb, the resurrection, and ascending back to his Father. That's why Christmas is important. So every time you see the nativity scene, every time you get a Christmas card, every time you wrap a present, every time you look at your beautiful tree and turn the lights on to celebrate, every time you celebrate Christmas, remember that Christmas is the celebration of Jesus making his way from heaven to earth to save us from our sins. Now go make it a great day, and I'll see you next time.